You are live on 98.9 Northwest FM. This is the Tuesday Review. As always, joined by James. How you going, James? What's made you happy in the last week?
And you are Nathan.
Yeah, you forgot to introduce you.
I'm Nathan.
Yeah.
Okay, James. What's made you happy?
I was hanging out with some friends on the weekend. We got like New York style pizza, the big
No outside
slices,
friends.
So Alan's jealous. Hey, we
To-
just
to
got
be
you.
fair-
I'm jealous
to
of
be
the pizza, nothing
Yeah, I
else.
was going to say, you said New York style pizza. That's what's
Yeah.
tipped us over the edge, mate.
I'll take you guys
Look,
there.
if the boys and us were just eating New York style pizza, we'd be happy.
Yeah.
James doesn't be there.
So what, it was like a big,
Yeah,
greasy,
just the really big
100
with the
inch-
big slices. Yeah.
What was it,
Nice.
deep dish or was it normal?
No, just
Because I don't think we could
New York-
tolerate deep dish.
New York-
Chicago
Not
style.
Chicago
yeah,
style, yeah.
they had Chicago, but we were like, no, we want New York style.
So is this
dip.
a
And then
Yankee
next
thin
time,
style?
base.
Is this like a Yankee specializing store?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the guy who runs it, he's actually I think he's from Connecticut. So he's an American guy. And yeah, it's like a New York style, American
Interesting.
style pizza. They have the New York style, then they have the Chicago deep dish, then they have the Detroit style, which
Ooh,
is the
yeah.
big squares, and then they had another kind as well, which I can't remember. Chicago Tavern style, which is like
Now, I always assumed that American pizza was actually kind of awful. How did you find it?
no, it's good. I mean,
Better than our local, kind of like the
Wood fire.
no, well,
Wood-fire pizza?
Woodfire and New York style is different.
Woodfire is
Woodfire-
closer to your Neapolitan, at
Yeah.
least the
Yeah.
ones what we have here.
Woodfire is like, spicy Italiano, whereas New York style is like you just want this big cheesy slice.
like a Pizza Hut style.
Almost.
Except big, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this place obviously was, a decent, Australian restaurant. So it's not like the $1 slices you'd actually get in New York, which are probably just crap, but they're
Yeah.
cheap and you get to.
Did they give you complimentary Ozempic? For these massive pizza slices.
You need to
like,
balance it out a bit.
That's it. Here's your kilo of carbs.
Yeah. No, yeah, you don't go there to eat healthy.
No. We're also joined by Alan. How you going, Alan? What's made you happy in the last couple of weeks?
I'm going good, thank you. And what's made me happy in the last couple of weeks, I'm glad you added that because it wasn't this week, it was last week. I hustled and hustled and hustled.
Boy, did you.
And got myself a new camera. So friends of the show will know I had a Nikon Z30, which we sold to another friend of the show, Julian. Hope you're enjoying it. Pictures of your baby with it, And I decided I was going to upgrade myself to a Sony camera this time. And I had my eyes on the A6700. But I am a staunch believer of you never pay full price.
No.
So full price on this camera is $2,200, I think, or $2,300. Frequently goes on sale for about $2,000. I don't want to pay $2,000 because that's still close to full price.
God forbid.
Yeah. So I'll take a long story short, but the people at the City JB were very nice to me, and they helped me out. But I got what is arguably $2,600 of value for, drumroll please, $1,762.
Yeah, nice.
This is why you need to take Alan with you
Yeah,
if
that's
you're
it.
ever going to buy
But
something.
it starts at conception, right? Because at the start of this scheme, you're buying like the gift cards at a discount. And you're paying with the gift cards, and then
There's multiple steps.
there's multiple steps.
The discount.
It's not just hustling an employee.
Yeah. So
out
the
of his
gift cards,
commission.
I was already 10%
It's not
down.
just haggling. There's
Yeah.
other.
There's a cashback from Sony that's $100. There was a 15% offer where you buy a lens as a combination with the camera, and just price matching and all sorts of shenanigans. But like I said, if it saves you nearly $1,000 off what you would have paid retail, I think you're winning.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
And in classic Alum style, he parked nice and close, just
Yeah,
into the city.
right in the city,
Yeah.
off what is it, Collins Street? I was on Collins Street.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, and we went and had a few beers.
Nice.
Ate Lord of the Fries.
Yeah.
We turned into a session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. And now we've got a nice fancy new camera to do.
With 2 lenses this time. The other one just had
Tuesday
the
review
kit
videos
lens.
on.
Yeah.
This is what I call my "Hey, you over there in the bushes" lens. 'Cause, it goes like this, bam.
For those listening home, it
telescopic.
extends. Yeah.
Yes, it's a 55mm to 210mm lens. It's good for capturing those faraway moments.
Excellent. Also joined by Callum. What's made you happy in the last week, Callum?
Well, I made a 75% on my own, I made a Biscoff cheesecake at home on the weekend. And I know Alan's thinking like press X to doubt that he did it on his own, but I
The
did.
75% part, you're like, meh.
No, it was the other way around. I was doing it, and then Mum was hovering nearby, and she was like, "Get out of the way! You're doing
I can attest. It was Callum was like, "I'm happy to do it," and Mum was like, "No, you're doing it wrong." And then she intervened.
I wasn't doing
right?
it wrong.
No.
It was.
No, it's also
she
you know
turned
what
it
mothers are like.
She termed it a skill issue. This was during the mixing of the cream cheese, and she thought I wasn't holding the mixer apparently dead on the downward angle that you require it to, so I wasn't doing it right. So she forced me out of there and did it.
It wasn't. It wasn't a situation of Callum being like, "Come in and help me, please."
No, she was like,
She was
"Get
like,
out of the way."
"Move out the way of my kitchen."
Well, to be fair, our mum's a big baker, and I think she was offended at the.
You were challenging her position.
Yeah,
No,
is this
just
the first time you've baked anything? What was the impetus of you being like...
fatness. No, this isn't the first. When I was unemployed, I occasionally used to bake cakes and such.
Okay.
But I just felt like I had a few drinks earlier in the day, and then I was like,
I want cheesecake.
yeah, no, legit, I was like, you know what, why don't we do something? I was like, why don't we do something fun? I was like, let's make something. Let's make a cheesecake. And then Mum foolishly was like, okay. And I was like, okay, I'll go and get the ingredients. Let's get it going. And it ended up being a top 10 cheesecake. It was actually really fantastic. But there was so much sugar in it that I only had one piece because I was like, I will die.
I was going to say, on Sunday, I actually baked some oats. Made a baked oat slice.
Ooh.
So
Very nice.
Quite healthy, but it also has cheese on it. Like a cream cheese frosting kind of thing that's baked into it.
Nice.
So the boys were in synchronicity.
Oh, well, there you go.
Doing some baking.
As for me, it's I don't know what's made me happy this week. It's been a bit of a tough one.
Crypto gambling. That's what's made you happy.
I mean,
She's a cool mistress, but
see, that doesn't make you happy.
That only makes you happy when you pays out.
That'll make me happy if it's like winning the lottery, right? That might make me happy in 5 years when I can retire off it if the gambling is successful. Don't gamble, kids. But it's not gambling.
don't gamble unless you can win.
That's it.
It's the truth.
Don't gamble unless Alan is gambling for you because he's the lucky one.
Also true. I guess what's made me happy is kind of what I watched over the weekend. I had a really good weekend watching content, which is a bit of a cop out on this show, but normally I come in with a good.
Yeah, Crimson Desert's coming out this week.
Crimson Desert's coming out, a game I'm very hyped for.
Oh, that's like is it action RPG?
Yeah, adventure action RPG, kind of bit of everything.
A lot of people who've played it are comparing it to The Witcher 3 a lot.
Okay.
In a favourable way, obviously. But it's a lot bigger in scope than The Witcher 3.
So we'll go with that. Crimson Desert comes out Friday. I've got it pre-ordered.
Okay,
something to look forward to on the weekend.
Way to start
Hopefully
the weekend, right?
Callum's right about to break his iPad here in the studio. There we go.
That's right. He'll get another one.
Another one for
for $1,000 off.
Can I quickly add in something that made me sad?
Yes, go for it.
I'm sorry. Chainsaw Man is apparently ending in like 9 days.
The manga.
Yeah. And just abruptly, it's like he just got like, I'm bored of it now. Like Andy dropping his toys.
Did the author say like he's wrapping it up or he's just dropping it?
No one really knows, but it's like...
Because it's quite abrupt.
Yeah. No one, everyone was like, what do you mean? What?
Well, technically it ended once already, right?
Well, yeah, no one knows if it seems to be a hard end, but it could be one of those things where they're trying to fake people out. So it'll be like end, and then it'll be like, oh, by the way, part 3 starts in 2027.
What if he's just leaving and then another author is coming in?
Is that does that happen
It's not standard.
in manga?
But it's possible.
It's possible.
Especially like maybe it just goes on hiatus for a couple of years and
Anyway, to cope with that devastating news, I just started reading One Piece, which I know will never end.
then... yeah, that'll go forever.
Chapter 157.
That is some piss
pretty
poor
good.
effort, Mr.
Yes.
That's pretty good. I'm not even that far into Berserk.
All right, let's move it along, boys.
Should we talk about the Oscars quickly?
We can.
I mean, we already had a good discussion off mic, which is the case with most of our discussions. All the good ones happen off mic. Yeah, I mean, every year I feel the need to mention the Oscars just because, you know, it kind of is connected.
I can go either way because it is a wank fest.
Yeah, I mean, that's
It's
the
a
thing.
wank fest unless we get what we want. and then,
Well,
it's completely legit.
Yeah. Yeah, when something you win one, then it's great. Yeah, no, but you know, every year we're like, yeah, it's kind of connected to what we do. You know, we want people to listen to the show. Maybe we should mention it. But then every year we do also add the caveat of like, yeah, but they're a huge wank. It doesn't make sense for, you know, to pit art against art. You know, there's so many movies that get snubbed or ignored or whatever. There's, you know, it's just,
and they're also. it's a popularity pissing contest.
Yeah,
it's not
and
necessarily about the art. It's about who makes the art and how much pull they have.
Yeah, and it's like, the studios and the executives, and it's like how much money they can pour into the campaign or whatever. And it's like, so it is just a major wank and it's crap. But yeah, I thought I would bring it up anyway because
Paul
movies.
Thomas Anderson is Bay.
And yeah, he is. Again, Conan was host for the second time. He's great. I mean, he's goated.
He created a new Leo meme.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah. Some of the bits worked, some of them didn't. But, overall, it wasn't a disaster like many of the previous years. Like no real big surprises or upsets in terms of winners and losers. Like I said, there's always big snubs that, things that weren't even nominated. But yeah, like all the stuff you thought was going to win won. I'm
glad One Battle After Another won over Sinners.
I think One Battle's better than Sinners. So in that case, but I think there are so many good nominated movies, and there were movies that weren't even nominated that should have been. So again, it's just one of those.
I thought it was ridiculous that Sinners won Best Screenplay.
Best original, yeah.
Did Quentin Tarantino go up for the award?
Well, he doesn't have any. Well, he doesn't have anything out.
The joke is that it's like so similar to From Dusk
From Dusk Till Dawn, yeah.
Yeah, like it's a good film. You can listen to our review episode number whatever, but it was fine.
Yeah,
Paul Thomas Anderson winning though. Finally.
Yeah, so Paul Thomas Anderson, one of the greatest filmmakers probably ever. Has never won an Oscar, and on this year he went from 0 to 3 in one night, so that's pretty good. And I think One Battle ended up with 6 Oscars overall. Again, who cares? Oscars, whatever. Yeah. But when a film, a good film,
it's nice to see him recognized by the Academy.
Exactly, yeah.
After so many times where you watch a movie and you're like, oh, that's gonna win. Of course, it's gonna win.
And I'm also happy that it's for a film that is actually good, because a lot of the times there's an actor or a director who, never wins, and they have all these great movies that get nominated and they never win. And then
they get their participation trophy for a movie that's not even that great.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, really? And so I'm glad that he got it for One Battle After Another, which is not his best film, but is still a very good, a great movie. So
I was disappointed for Timothy Chalamet. Little Tim.
Little Timmy.
Only because I think he acted his ass off in Mighty Supreme. I think he should have got it, and he really wanted it.
Yeah,
and it just didn't happen.
I think I said in our Mighty review that like it was probably my favorite Timmy performance, and he did a really great job. Yeah, but again, there were so many strong contenders this year, and it's just like whatever. It's like pitting performances against performances. It doesn't really make sense. But
I think, and we were talking about previously before we went on air, I think it's also not even Michael B. Jordan's best performance in Sinners.
No.
And I'm like, he won it for, was it best lead or what was it?
Best lead, best actor.
And he's not even the lead actor in the movie.
He is.
Should have been best back blowing out scene.
No. What we were what we were saying is, before the mics turn on, Nathan, is that he's not the best actor in the he's not the best performance in the movie. He's the lead actor, of course, but Delroy Lindo, who was nominated for supporting, which is great because he was amazing, and he kind of deserved that win. But also, Sean Penn was amazing as well.
Yeah, and he didn't even show up. Apparently he was on the way to Ukraine.
He was with Zelensky when with Oscar. I'm just like.
But there's all kinds of funny memes, like he didn't go because you can't smoke in the Dolby Arena.
Yeah.
And like there's photos of him smoking at the Golden
Globes. Yeah.
But yeah, like
he's such a character on and off screen.
So someone's making like he won by doing a Vince McMahon impression, which I think is great.
Yeah, but it was so disturbingly great.
But
so I don't know. Look.
So yeah, I mean, it wasn't an awful year, but
no one got slapped.
Yeah, that's always a win. I think we've mentioned this before. The worst thing about the Oscars is that when they cut off speeches, stop it.
Yeah.
It is awful.
I think
stop it.
It's one of those things.
If you're running late, cut some of the gags. Most of them aren't that funny and drag on forever.
I think.
Just let the people who won speak.
I think especially like I understand if you've won 6 Oscars already, keep it brief. You know what I mean? Like if you're one of the regulars,
obviously, if you're waffling on for 20 minutes, you don't want that. But there was
especially for actors who've never won an Oscar, never been in the building, like if
and they do it specifically because like when an actor when a famous actor or director gets up, they just kind of let him go for a while. But it always happens with like
unknown,
with the like best animated or best the under the line sort of nominees.
The other way around. Should be the other way around. It's like, okay, thanks, Leah, wrap it up. I'm sure we'll see you next year.
That person, exactly. That person who's of course he's going to win. He's probably going to get another win next year. Give him a couple minutes and get out of there. But the other guy who's like,
this is a once in a lifetime. Let him have their 15 minutes.
I think I like the gags and the what do you call them, the skits and the banter and whatever. But I'm like, I would rather they cut all that out and just make it about the movies and the people who make the movies.
You just wait until there's best AI. Best use of AI.
Well, they made those jokes. Conan made those jokes. Conan made those jokes because he's like, we're trying to make this, for the TikTok generation and the he was making jokes about AI. And then, the YouTube bought the rights to show the Oscars from 2029 onwards or something. So then there's all jokes about that. So I think the Oscars is just going to get more and more, less and less relevant than it already is. But it's still such an important institution, I guess. Yeah. That's been around for so long. But whether it should just die completely.
Nah, it'll be just everybody put less impetus on it. Before we move on from the Oscars, though, during their In Memoriam segment, they honoured a lot of people, but they didn't honour David Keeley, who was the chief quality officer for IMAX, who without him, we wouldn't have Christopher Nolan shooting on IMAX with the big formats. Like, IMAX wasn't really it's always been a thing, but it wasn't used like it is now without David Keeley, who was the guy who drove the movement to get big directors using it and then making movies for IMAX. Yeah. So before he started turning that trend around, IMAX was not a niche media, but it was
it kind of was.
But you know what I mean? It wasn't like
I remember when we were young, it was 45-minute dinosaur movies.
Yeah, it was just
and that's great,
or documentary.
But it's he was a massive pioneer in movie making, not just Hollywood.
Am I getting my timing wrong? Because they didn't honor Gene Hackman. Was that over a year ago? Was that last Oscars?
It was relatively recently.
Yeah. Because he was... Yeah. So, there were so many icons who passed away that they honored, and they did some great... they did their... there were people who you could spend the whole show talking about, how amazing they were.
No, he died on the 18th of February 2025, so he might have been honored in last year's Oscars.
Wow.
Last year's, I don't remember.
But David Keeley was literally snubbed for it, though. And it's one of those things where Christopher Nolan has said that without David Keeley, his movies don't exist as IMAX format. Yeah. So it's one of those... the new IMAX cameras are called Keeley. At least one of the models. So
he was on it at the last Oscars.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't remember.
But anyway, the Tuesday Review recognises the substantial commitment to film from David Keeley.
I'll also shout out to Autumn Durald Okafor, who won Best Cinematography for Sinners, because she's the first woman who ever won that award. So that's pretty cool.
Excellent.
Speaking of IMAX, that a lot of that was shot on
the big
IMAX.
Music scene.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, they did that on stage. That was great, so yeah.
Jack O'Connell was there with his fangs.
Yeah.
That was a cool touch.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let him on stage.
Yeah. I guess we'll move on. I guess I'll start. I watched the new Louis Theroux documentary.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
Is that the one with the alpha males and stuff?
Yes.
The Manosphere.
Inside the Manosphere. And I think, in a way, Louis was the wrong person to make this doco.
Should have been someone like Ross Kemp, already a manly man.
Well, no, maybe, but the issue is, so if listeners aren't aware of Louis' style of documentary, he kind of just lets people talk and he lets them make themselves look kind of foolish, right? He just lets people talk, very little pushback. He's just asks a basic question and lets people run.
Yeah.
And I think it was the wrong way to handle a documentary about this kind of topic, because it can essentially, you're just platforming these psychopaths, right? And you're letting them air their message out to the public on Netflix. And
But couldn't you say that about any of his subjects, like
I
the
think
Nazis?
it's more to do with the way influencers are able to sell themselves.
it's
So they're less likely to fall for that kind of trap.
I think in a way, right, when he's talking to, say, Louis and the Settlers or Louis and the Ultra Zionists, he's talking to normal people. Not normal people, but he's talking to regular people, right? Obviously, these are not necessarily normal people. But
these aren't professional, charismatic
Yeah,
individuals.
so
like in the Settlers, like he was talking to like politicians and stuff. So they're like public figures.
But these aren't. Then also, like, you got to remember the kind of people he's interviewing in the Manosphere doco are the kind of people that are trying to sell a product to young kids. Not necessarily the same kind of people trying to sell a policy on behalf of a government. So I'm like, he's platforming these guys who are like, sign up to my Telegram, which is already sus. And I'm like, give me money and I'll invest it and I'll take a cut of the profits and all this kind of stuff and, be a real man, beat your woman and all the kind of toxic nonsense that they espouse very publicly in this documentary. He doesn't push back enough. And in other documentaries like The Settlers, Ultra Zionists and other kind of his more controversial docos, he's pushed back more. And in this, he just kind of stays silent and just lets them talk. And I feel like it's the wrong approach. Because then if you're a younger kid watching this, it's on Netflix. Netflix is the big global behemoth. It's not on the BBC, right? BBC's lame. This is on Netflix. Cool. I think there's an element where vulnerable young men could watch this and they could just sign up. That it's not necessarily a negative portrayal.
That's interesting.
Because he doesn't push back as hard as he should have.
Yeah, so Louis' gift has always been allowing a person to kind of almost paint themselves into a corner and make themselves look like an ass.
But these dudes are social media stars. They know how to...
They're the kind of dudes that will, like, several of them will get like a woman on their program and then like talk down to the woman and shut her down and do all that. And if you don't have somebody pushing back against it, they win that conversation in a way.
They do, and that's my worry with this documentary is he's shooting himself in the foot by not being as hard as he should have been. Because he platforms these guys and they espouse them, they go off on their nonsense, right? And he just says, in one case, he's like, I disagree. And I'm like, thanks, Louis, but can you articulate it, mate? Like,
because you've seen the ones where he's in the West Bank and he's like talking to settlers and the politicians and stuff. They like just allowing them to kind of talk what they're talking. They end up saying weird ass shit that ends up
I think that's
getting them in trouble, and even they're having like doubts as they're talking, and he's like, doesn't this mean this? And then as they're bringing it out, they're speaking
don't the Manosphere dudes do the same
smarter
thing?
than that, right?
So also
because in a way
but their talking points are obviously more concise and hard hitting rather than actually because none of it means anything.
No, and
like the whole thing of like, you gotta pop 10 Viagra's a day and then be plowing 10 ladies by the end of the morning or something like that.
A lot of these guys were quite ready for Louis. And they done their research and they knew how he operated. And so it ends up just being a weird documentary. It's good. And as someone who, I guess, is more centered and kind of, has more self-esteem, I understand that what they're talking is a lot of rubbish. But they're ready for him in the doco and they get away with it. And they don't necessarily look like fools. I know they're foolish. But they're not talking to me. Like, it's essentially a Netflix documentary where Louis asking the questions and they're advertising to kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think one of the things about it is
the other boys should watch it and they should tell me their opinions.
I was going to watch it.
I think the thing about it is, like, if you compare it to Louis Theroux and the Ultra Zionists or whatnot, that's a more existential question where it's like you're going to get someone on camera being like, these people shouldn't exist because my book says so.
Yeah, well, that's the difference.
So like that's a topic where he can just ask a question, and because they believe in this, let's be honest, like some of the stuff they talk about has nothing to do with religion in and of itself. It's just craziness that they've been culturally led to believe. Whereas the Manosphere stuff is more like Louis like, well, how do you feel about women? And then the guy will just go off on some random thing or whatever.
That's a really good example. And
it's more like grounded in like the normal rules of being, whereas the other stuff he did is so crazy and over the top that like he can just ask a simple question and then they'll be like, say something ridiculous.
Well, no, but that's a good example. So in Louis and the Settlers or Ultra Zionists, he'll go to a settler and he'll say, so why does this belong to you? And then the guy will, and his interviewee will say, because it was promised to me 3,000 years ago. And it's kind of like, that establishes the baseline craziness, right?
Yeah.
But in this, I was laughing. It's true, right?
I just read the documentary where the soldier's like, "Don't you feel me?" He's like, "What's wrong? I'm just filming a documentary." And the soldier's like, "Yeah."
But no, but that sets a good baseline, right? But in this one, it's kind of like Louis goes and says, what do you think about women? And they say, oh, I love women, X, Y, and Z, right? And then they'll talk to his girlfriend, and she's like, I want to be a stay-at-home wife. Like, it's not the trap that Louis thinks it is, because it's surrounded by people who, and they're not necessarily outlandish in our context, in the views, in the same vein of settlers, ultra-Zionists, the Klan, all the other kind of crazy stuff Louis done. It's more insidious and more subtle. And so his approach of interviewing in this case backfires. I think it backfires.
Okay, interesting.
But I'm interested to see, maybe we'll have another discussion.
We'll have a full assessment.
When the other boys have watched it, because
we'll
I think...
talk about it. Oh, well, we'll talk about it next soon.
Next, because I was going to watch it. I was going to watch it this week, so maybe next week.
I just think it comes across a little bit too weak.
Okay.
And I think it's dangerous. The whole subject is dangerous. The toxic manosphere, the whole kind of, they go into the Matrix and they raise good points. Like, the modern capitalist world is not a good place to be a young man with no prospects, right? They prey on young people's self-doubt, lack of opportunity, and they say to kids,
young men not being friends with girls, as well as also probably a big driver.
And they again, a lot of these guys come from broken homes and all that kind of stuff, so they appeal to kids in those same situations. And they say, here's a way out, and that way out is terribly toxic.
Well,
so it's,
there's a reason there's the rise of the far right around the world, is because people are so hopeless that they're looking for any answer. And if someone gets up there and says all these crazy things, that's like, oh, we have the answer. It's trans people, or it's, immigrants or whatever. And it's just kind of like you point the fingers at everyone. People are just so desperate.
I'm conflicted. I liked it, but I can be objective about the content and the documentary, and I can say it presents a negative picture of these guys, but that's all to do with interpretation. And someone who is more vulnerable can watch this and essentially go straight onto Instagram and start following these guys like an advertisement. It's insidious. So I guess we'll see. We'll revisit this in the future when the boys have more. Anyone else have anything super new?
I don't think I have anything new.
New to me.
Well, I have one other new-ish thing to Australia before we move on. I watched Man on the Run, which is just made. It was just finishing.
Which one's that?
It's the new Paul McCartney documentary.
Oh, yes.
It recently finished doing a run at like the local picture houses in Brunswick and whatnot, and it's come to Amazon Prime in Australia, and I watched it. I really enjoyed it. So it's a documentary about Paul McCartney's life just post Beatles. And I'm like, well, you've just been a part of the most successful music band in history ever, if still not now, right? What do you do? So like, he's just left the Beatles and he's basically just kind of sitting there. He's drinking too much. He's like, oh no, I've ruined my life. What do I do? And it's somewhat emotional, kind of like introspective journey. Paul narrates it with archival footage and stuff like that. Where it's kind of just like, well, what do you do? Like you've hit 100 out of 100. You've hit as high as anyone living can go without being like the Pope, right? You know what I mean? Like, he's been the...
Well, the Beatles were bigger than Jesus, so he was bigger than Jesus, and now it's like, well, what do I do now? Yeah,
and so it's kind of just like, what do you do after you've already done everything? And that was kind of like essentially how the movie starts. It's kind of like a good question. Like, he's essentially retired, but he's like 30-something, early 30s. Yeah. He's just like, what do I do now?
Yeah, that is interesting.
And it's kind of, that's where it starts. And I really like that start. It's kind of like, well, where do I go now? What do I do? And, he makes music, and it's just essentially an introspective journey about Paul not really coming to terms with the breaking up of the Beatles. And that's kind of why he started Wings. Okay. Because he's like, I want to be in a band.
Needs a rebound.
He needs a band.
Yeah.
I'm like, I shouldn't have left the Beatles. I need a band. Right? But all the other Beatles are like, no. Go to hell, Paul. Like, there's a whole legal case going on, everything else.
It helps when he's like one of the greatest living songwriters of all time. He's like, oh, just make a band, then make some more incredible music.
But the problems continue, right? Because, and this is another thing the movie is essentially about. You're Paul McCartney. You've been bigger than Jesus. You start a new band. Who are you equals in the band?
Yeah.
Everyone looks to you like you're God.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what a large part of the film is about, where he's kind of just like, he just wants to be a normal guy in a band going on the road, but he's Paul McCartney.
Yeah. Anyone you get.
All of his bandmates are just like, but you're Paul McCartney. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of just like, there's not an equal relationship
Yeah.
between the band members because you're Paul McCartney and they're not Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
And so it's really good, and it kind of ends in the ending of Wings and John Lennon's assassination and all that kind of stuff towards the end. And I really liked it. It was good.
It's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
interesting period to focus on.
Interesting period to focus on, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like a few years. It's not that long, really. But it was good. I think everyone should watch it. It's a good music doco. It's a good kind of. It's it's about Wings in the quotes, but it's really just about the man's inner turmoil after the ending of his career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked it. Yeah. I didn't know he went to jail in Japan. He
Really?
Yeah.
For what?
He was a silly boy and he brought weed into Japan. They warned him not to do it. He's like, I'll be fine. I'm Paul McCartney. And then you get to the airport. Was not fine. He almost got 7 years hard labor.
Oof. Yeah, they take that stuff
Yep.
seriously in Japan.
Yeah, no. And that was a turning point in his life when he was in jail and he was like, oh no, what do I do now?
How long was he in jail for?
A week. And then, of course, he's Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
Like, as a normal person, it would have been
Yeah,
7 years.
that
Already
would have been 7 years.
But like, you're Paul McCartney. They let him stew in it for a week, and they're
Yeah.
like, he's suffered enough.
Yeah.
too much of an international
Debacle.
Yeah.
debacle. Yeah.
When
Imagine the Queen had to get involved.
yeah.
He would be one of the few people where you can be like, I definitely wasn't going to sell it. I clearly was just going to smoke it. So leave me alone. Like I'm not influencing your people with my weed.
when is the new Beatles movies plural coming out this year?
Oh, I don't know.
Because I know I think they're filming them or they have filmed them.
They are filming, I saw pictures of people walking down the street with their Beatles haircuts.
No, 2028.
Oh
Oof.
wow, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there is technically four movies.
Yeah,
so.
April 7th, 2028 at this point.
It'll be an interesting experiment. 4 different movies all at the same time, and I guess you just see them in whatever order you want.
Yeah.
So, be interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've ever done something like that before
No, I don't
that I
think
can
so.
remember. Maybe they have, but
I don't know.
yeah.
We might go to a very quick break before we come back with more. We'll be right back after this. Yeah, we're back on 98.9 Northwest FM. This is the Tuesday Review. I've got one more thing to discuss before I let someone else talk. So Shudder recently had an update. I don't know if the rest of the boys are aware.
Accounts now, baby.
Yes, they
user
have
profiles.
They have user
profiles.
profiles now on Shudder,
Yeah.
and I think some new content in Australia. We lost some, but that's okay. One of the things that I found was the In Search of Darkness from 1995 to 1999. If our viewers aren't aware what In Search of Darkness is, it's a series of documentaries. There's 5 of them now, each tackling a 5-year period in the horror genre, starting from 1980 to 85, 85 to 89, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. I think we've talked about the 80s one before a
Yeah.
long time ago.
So I got the chance on Shudder now with their newest update to watch 1995 to 1999, which is a questionable period in horror history, but that's okay. And it was six hours, and then there was like 23 minutes of Kickstarter.
In Search of
Credits and
Darkness
stuff,
are
yeah.
notoriously like when they cover a 5-year period, they cover the 5-year period.
And they talk about most notable movies from that period. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. Obviously, the 80s ones have more hits because movies
it
were
was
better
the
in the
best,
80s, right? Especially
For
horror films.
Yeah.
95 to 99, generally, it has some really good horror movies, but a lot of them haven't aged as well, right? Obviously,
Yeah,
you've got Scream.
Scream was the whole point, like the whole thing of Scream was like the reinvention, the comeback of like horror, because horror was kind of like going a bit.
And they spend like an hour
down.
talking about that, which is a good part of the documentary when they're talking about Scream and the modern reinterpretation of horror and bringing it into a modern meta context. And then they just, I guess there's too little horror movies to talk about, so you get some crap. And they're talking about horror movies and just bad CG everywhere.
Yeah.
Look, it was good. I suggest all horror fans at least watch these if you can. Buy them if you can find them. They're notoriously expensive.
As you were saying,
They're good background watching too.
Yeah, as you were saying off mic, it was like they're good comfort food. Like you could put them on, and it's just like all these movies that you've you remember from like your childhood, or you know, if you're a fan of the genre, that's like it's just like going through them all and celebrating horror. And
that's what it is. It's a celebration of horror.
Getting like a bit of back behind the scenes insight and
So like that's kind of what I enjoy it for. Is they always have someone who every movie they talk about, they have someone most of the time who was involved in that movie, and they just tell you stories about the making of the movie, facts, you know, kind of behind the scenes little factoids or stories. And it's a really good time because it's just, you know, I can do it while I'm exercising at home, or I'm like doing something on my laptop, and you can just have it as background kind of watching, which is nice. Yeah. And obviously you can pay less attention. It's a movie you don't care about.
Yeah.
But,
I guess you don't have to lock in like some did they make a In Search of Darkness like sci-fi version, or am I
don't think so. They may have. I mean, I don't see a reason why they shouldn't expand into other genres.
Yeah.
I wish they'd also do a 70s version. Because they started with 80. I would like them to go back and do like 70 to 75. And
I think that would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I think the problem is because all these movies are kickstarted and essentially made on demand, like in a disc format, they're incredibly expensive. Like incredibly expensive.
It's because they're not traditional documentaries in like 90-minute sort of, you know, and then they're released.
Yeah.
It's like
they're like 6 hours.
Behemoths.
It's
discs,
more like they probably wouldn't exist without like the internet streaming model and without the Kickstarter model.
But the problem is they're not even they're not Shudder originals. Some of them having to find their way to Shudder. But it's an awkward space where they get them crowdfunded each time they make one, and then they have to try and find a home for it.
Yeah.
And it's an awkward kind of time to be an indie filmmaker.
I feel like in years previous, they'd be like coffee table books.
Yeah.
That's like what that would be.
So there's still some missing from Shudder, even in America, like even American Shudder and all that. There's still some that you just can't get because they didn't bind a streaming release. So Shudder or whoever didn't want to pay for it. So they only exist on disc, and they're done. On to the next project. So they're incredibly expensive and rare.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just like, if you see it, buy it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So
Shudder should like sponsor
you would have
fund
thought
them
so,
and like make it exclusive.
It's perfect content in a way. It's the perfect content for Shudder because they're relatively inexpensive, right? It's just maybe it's all the background footage they have to license for the films.
Licensing would be a nightmare. I don't know how.
Yeah, so maybe it's the licensing costs that are the blowout figure. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's fair. Some of it's fair use because they're commenting on it. I don't know. But
anyway, surely they can't be that expensive. It's just like clips of movies and then interviews. I don't know. But it's the kind of perfect content for Shudder or a streaming service where it's like it's 6 hours, you know what I mean? And you can just have it on in the background. It's what they want. It's what Netflix would want, right?
Exactly.
Background content.
Yeah, and if Shudder is like the home of like horror, it's like that's a great place to put that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all I've got for this week. Anyone else have anything interesting?
Callum, you want to go?
Yeah, sure. I'll only talk about one because we still got James and Alan to go. But I watched Reality Bites, which is a film I've never seen in the American romantic dramedy genre. And it was an interesting one. So it's Ben Stiller's debut as a director. Screenplay by Helen Childress. And it stars Winona Ryder, Ethan Hawke, and Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller in a supportive role, at least. But Winona Ryder is the lead, and Ethan Hawke is, I guess, the co-lead, the male co-lead. And it's about a bunch of college graduates who are feeling disenfranchised after finishing their university course. It's set against the backdrop of the early 90s and the economical situation in which they find themselves. And it's a really interesting dramedy because it's more tense than a movie like The Big Chill. But I feel like it has some of that same genetics. But because it's not set in the 80s, there's more, and it's set in the 90s, there's more of a, like a Gen X cynicism, whereas the
Big Chill was definitely like a boomer.
The Big Chill had more optimism, of course, because it was in the 80s, and they were all, getting together under that it's about them coming to celebrate, to grieve a death, but there's that sense of camaraderie where this movie doesn't have that. This movie is like, we're in this apartment, one of us has lost our job, none of us are happy. What are we doing? And it's set, so Winona Ryder plays a character who is a budding videographer who loses her job and she wants to like become a director basically. But it's, you know, things go wrong and Ben Stiller is like a businessman of some sort. It's never really like fully gone. It's not about him. So it's like, it's not really about what he does, but he gets involved with these younger people. And it's kind of bittersweet, but it also has a comfort foodness to it. What I was surprised by was the AIDS epidemic is kind of a big part of the subtext because one of the characters is going through a scare and one of the other characters is gay. And so that's like a thing they have to deal with. And I was like, it made me appreciate how far we've come in terms of medicine, because the 90s wasn't, you know, we're all 90s kids. The 90s was 30 years ago. I'm not going to say it wasn't that long ago because it kind of was. But culturally speaking, the 90s wasn't that long ago. And I'm like, you're watching this film and, you know, they've got mobile phones and stuff. So it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, it's not yesteryear. It is.
Yeah.
But it's hard to, maybe it's because I'm a 35-year-old man. I'm like, the 90s wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
And then
it's always,
and I was like, okay, grandpa.
Yeah. 2005, that was 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. But my point is that it's like this is a real problem for these people. And I'm like, one of the characters is, it's like a death sentence. If she's waiting on the results of a test and all she thinks about is being in a hospital and all the tubes and all that. And I'm like, these days, it's like, you know, the gay community isn't that terrified of it. It's like something they just deal with pills now. And it's like you go back and you watch movies like Philadelphia and it's like this death sentence.
Yeah, well, it was,
and so,
period.
I was surprised by that because when I think of 90s, I don't think of the AIDS epidemic. And of course, it was the thing in the 90s, but it's like, in my mind, that's like an 80s problem.
Yeah, well, I think, I don't know when the peak was, but it was like, I think it started like 80, 81, and it went all the way to the early 90s. And
so it was just interesting to see that as kind of like a backdrop of the film. It's not as good as a dramedy as, say, The Big Chill or any of the other kind of American ones. Obviously, it's nowhere in the same league as like You've Got Mail or anything like that. But it's a lot smaller in scope as well. It's just mainly set in an apartment and some surrounding areas. But yeah, I kind of really liked it. It's not Ben. It's like, I don't think it's his. You know, now that he's a director on Severance, it's disingenuous to say it's, you know, up there in his top 10.
Yeah.
But it's a good debut for his. You know, I wouldn't.
It's one of those movies I always meant to watch. It's like kind of a cult 90s.
I was avoiding
kind
it.
of, yeah.
But it's pretty good, especially if you're in the mood for something that's a little more intimate, more emotional driven. Ethan Hawke is really good in it, but he's good at great.
He's
and everything.
always good. Yeah.
But he has this kind of like funny, like lighter voice that I was like, oh, okay, it's a younger Ethan Hawke. What was that movie we reviewed a while ago that was was it his debut? A Jim Jarmusch movie?
Debut? He's been acting since he was a kid.
Oh, not debut. Yeah, you're right. He has been. I'm a dummy. I'm blanking on that film now that he did.
Never mind.
It was what's his name? William Burroughs has a cameo in it. Do you know which one I'm talking about? Drugstore Cowboy?
Oh, no, that was Matt Dillon, not Ethan Hawke.
Oh, it was Matt Dillon. I'm an
Classic Callum face.
You're doing the
all white American actors look the same to me.
You white, you Ben Affleck.
That's right.
You are Ethan Hawke now, apparently.
That's it. Ethan Hawke, yeah. What was that film?
Role models.
No, the one with Matt Dillon.
Drugstore
Cowboy?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah. You already said it, yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I recommend it. Reality Bites, 1994.
Yeah.
Produced by Danny DeVito as well, as a little side fact. Good film.
Alan, do you want to mention anything?
Did I talk about His and Hers a couple of weeks back?
No.
Not that I remember.
All right, so my big boss at work mentioned a couple of film and television show things to me, and I discussed a few things with him, and he's like, you know what? Watch His and Hers.
Oh, so you listen to him, but not us.
Hey,
Wait, His and Hers, is that the Jim Carrey movie?
he's my boss. I'm trying to get a raise here.
Yeah,
Right?
trying to get on his good
You
side.
already got one. Calm down.
Hey, I need another one. These bills ain't cheap, especially with the price of petrol. I drive 60Ks.
The rates are going
I
up.
drive
as
like
well.
90Ks a day.
Come on,
Anyway.
you hustle your work all the time. Can't you just get like a petrol card off him?
That's what I'm planning. Anyway, His and Hers is I believe it's a Netflix original with John Bernthal and Tessa Thompson.
Yes,
that's
I've heard of
the
this.
mystery.
Yeah, the murder mystery. They're
Yeah.
two, I guess, estranged spouses. The Tessa Thompson plays a television reporter who's kind of been on leave for a while, and then John Bernthal plays a detective who's, I guess, in like a small town, which is his hometown, I believe, kind of, or her hometown police department. And basically, a murder happens in the town, and they're kind of both suspecting each other in a way.
Okay.
Because they both have good reason to be suspects.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, one of the big things about any kind of murder mystery is, like, can you guess who the killer is beforehand? You know, before the reveal happens.
Yeah.
And here I am thinking I'm slick. That I've got it. You know, I'm better than the average, you know, show watcher. I'm not going to fall for the red herring. You know, I'm a cool guy. And then they blew me out of the water with that. With what actually goes down. And I was like, damn it, I fell for the other red herring. You know, here it was, be like, I'm not going to fall for that one. I'm gonna, you know, I've got this. I've got
You thought
this
you were
down.
an enlightened man.
Yeah, and here it was getting hustled. Like,
that's a good endorsement because usually Alan's like, I guessed it in the first 5
yeah,
minutes.
so they got me. They got to me good. Which is, again,
I'm
it's
pretty sure you did that to me in the middle of a film in the cinema and it ruined the movie for me.
Yeah, what was
classic.
it?
You just like whispered something and then I was like, of course. That's and it ended up
I
being
was like, he's the guy. And then-
Yeah, I remember when that happened.
Was it Scream?
Yeah,
I think you called it mid-movie.
yeah, I think it was. It was a Scream movie.
I'm bad people sometimes. But hey, that's my fun for it. And the fact that it you know, again, misled me, did quite well to mislead me. Pretty good.
Now that you know the reveal, is it like a movie that's worth revisiting?
It's a series.
Oh, it's a series. Is it a mini-series?
Yeah, mini-series. I wouldn't say so because it's... thinking back on it, because, you know, my memory's average or above average. There's not really a ton of like breadcrumbs that lead you in that direction. Like there's a little bit, but I don't think your average like TV show goal would be able to pinpoint.
No, but now that you've watched it and you know the reveal,
Would you rewatch?
Was the experience good enough for you to go back?
Not immediately, but probably
Eventually.
I'd say eventually in like a year or two.
Yeah,
I think the Rotten Tomatoes is sitting at 69%, which isn't great, but
that doesn't really mean.
it also, like, in some ways, I like it that you hate the leads as well. You don't hate them, but they give you a reason to kind of be like, you know what, you guys are a piece of shit too, you know? So, like, because you always, a lot of times you get such a lovable lead, you're like, I don't want to hate you, but, you know, people being a little more grey rather than black and white is always pretty positive. On that same vein, the boss has recommended a second show on Stan this time, Memory of a Killer, starring Patrick Dempsey.
Yes.
So that basically involves a hitman who is possibly, I've only watched one episode, is possibly developing Alzheimer's.
Okay.
And, you know, kind of what's happening to his aging brain, and he's got obviously commitments that he needs to take care of, and just kind of seeing that, like, because he's still in the industry, and can he protect himself and his family while he kind of, you know, breaks down mentally. Again, just going by one episode, the way you see him kind of think whether or not he's got Alzheimer's is awesome, because he's got a brother who's got Alzheimer's, who's developed it quite severe, is in a care home. And at the start, she just mentions some kind of music therapy, and she's like, if your brother had paid attention when he was forgetting his PIN code, and that sort of thing, maybe we could have done more with him in terms of treatment. You know, being the first episode, I'm spoiling a little bit, but you think that he's forgetting his PIN code, but then a scene later on, he punches the PIN code and just nice, and you're like, oh, maybe it's just one of those weird red herring things, like, you know, made you kind of think, is he actually developing, you know, Alzheimer's or not? And then he puts his gun away in a safe because he's got a visitor to his apartment. And then the visitor, like when they go to grab something out of his fridge, gets shocked and leaves. He goes to the fridge and the gun's in the fridge.
Yeah, I see.
And it's like, damn, he is developing it. Like, they've done it quite like nicely and subtly. Again, judging from one episode, it could turn to an absolute shit show. But I'll keep the peoples updated. It also stars Michael Imperioli, aka Chrissy.
Christopher.
So he's an absolute G.
Oh man, Callum shared a meme with me the other day where it's his one of the classic scenes from The Sopranos where he's trying to write a movie script.
Oh,
He's like, I must be loyal to my copper, and he's spelling all the spellings are wrong.
Ask if we ever try to make anything.
Just be loyal to my copper. And I'm like, that's so relevant today when people are trying to use AI to create stuff. It's like,
yeah, it's so.
I'm gonna have to pay
Chris,
off your boss.
Chris would have loved AI.
You're gonna have to pay
yeah.
off your boss to be all
Yeah.
like, "Hey, Alan, you should watch Twin Peaks, so
You know
you'll
how-
finally watch it."
You know how they do. You know how like on like TikTok or whatever they do like Seinfeld, but if it was today.
Yeah.
Sopranos, but if it was today, that would totally be a plot line.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like Christopher trying to get into Bitcoin and AI and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, instead of having like the share company that invests
It
in
will be
shares,
crypto
it'd be
mining.
like guys
yeah.
that are selling crypto on the
Crypto
phone. They're like, "You
mining.
gotta get into this, bro."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Anything else, Alan?
no, I think that's
No,
about
alright.
everything for me.
What have you got for us, James?
Well, I don't know what to choose, so
What are our options?
in the group chat, I'm gonna put my last few movies that I've
Oh.
watched, and then you guys talk amongst yourselves, and then pick one that you want me to focus on.
All right, let's see.
Why did you watch? Oh, sorry. Why did you watch Academy Award-winning movie K-pop Demon Hunters?
Because I thought it. I mean, even if it wasn't nominated, I like animated movies, and everyone says it's good, and I'm like, you know what?
Is the
It was
ugliest
one of the biggest-
stepsister a porno?
Which one?
The ugliest stepsister?
No.
Well, a man's gonna
Yeah,
ask. you
but
know.
K-pop Demon Hunters was a good movie. I mean, I don't, I'm not into K-pop. I don't.
It's a very niche.
Yeah, I the music wasn't for me, but it was catchy, and the songs were
Right, well-
good, and the animation was cool.
The Ugly Stepsister is a big deal at the moment, I think.
Yeah,
Tell,
so
tell
that-
us about that.
that's
and if we have
another-
time, maybe the Battle of Algiers.
I was gonna say
Okay.
maybe To Catch a Thief, but
Oh my god!
we have to fight
Um,
about it.
You talk about the ugliest stepsister next episode. I'll talk about the porno version of that. I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
Then again, I'm not willing to provide my ID to the government to watch porno.
Yeah.
To the VPN mobile.
Until they ban VPNs.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
Over my dead body.
Turning into,
That's when I raise arms
turning
in
into,
Minecraft.
turning into China. Chairman Elbow.
I'm gonna find his ID and use it.
Sign up to all sorts of crazy sites.
Like, who's the goon now, Elbow?
Oh,
All right,
God.
James. So tell us about the Ugly Stepsister.
Oh, okay.
Because this is one I was kind of interested in because of the
Yeah.
hype, but also
So-
is it just a retelling of the fairy tale?
Sort of, but I don't think that's okay, so it's sort of a retelling of Cinderella from this Ugly Stepsister's point of view. However, saying that, and even though technically it's true, I think saying that is a bit reductive and doesn't do the film justice. Because watching the movie, I went in pretty blind, other than knowing that it was like a body horror movie and that it was called The Ugly Stepsister. So I, watching the first half of the movie, I'm like, this doesn't really, it doesn't track on to Cinderella because it's from a different perspective as much. Then, of course, as it goes on, it does become closer and closer. But it's still its own movie, and it's not, I think, like I said, it's not just that. I think I really liked it. I think, because I heard when it came out, I think people were talking about like how gnarly it was and how gory it was, and the body horror. And it definitely is. If you don't have if you're not sort of comfortable with that stuff, if you're a bit squeamish, yeah, it can be a bit. Can be a bit much.
So where would it sit on like the Substance kind of body horror?
Well, Substance was mostly, I'd say, play for laughs. So
Was it closer to Terrifier?
I mean, I haven't seen Terrifier, but Terrifier is like, from what I understand, more mean-spirited. So this is more, I don't know what to compare it to, but it's more like, there's like more like self-mutilation and like surgery, but like old-timey surgery,
So it's closer
without
to
anesthetic.
Closer to Audition.
No, that's different again. Yeah.
It's its own thing.
Yeah. But anyway,
it's closer to Hostel.
it's played more straight, and it is like more.
So is it the Ugly Stepsister looks maxing? Is that what's going on?
That's pretty much as
That's a thing.
the kids would say.
She's like mewing the whole time.
Yeah, just like breaking the jaw to get a better jaw.
It's pretty much stuff like that.
Got
So like,
chat going on.
yeah, it's like, getting a nose job, but this is like 1700s fairy tale land where they do it with a chisel. So it's that kind of stuff.
It's coming back in fashion today.
Well, yeah. Speaking of like Manosphere stuff.
Yeah, speaking of Manosphere stuff, that's right.
But no, I thought it was a really good movie. It looked, pretty nice. I really liked the score. The soundtrack like was really cool. It was like kind of dreamy, synthy, kind of weird. I like that. I think like I said, the overall story, it's not just a retelling of Cinderella from the stepsister's point of view. I think it's more than that. And I really like the themes of, especially for women, like, self-esteem and body image. And so I think it's a good movie. I think you guys would like it. The gore effects are cool. And yeah, it was just a good sort of sort of body horror kind of sort of dark fairy tale.
Oh, so it's worth a watch.
Yeah, I think it's worth watching.
We have a couple minutes, James. You want to talk to us about the Battle of Algiers?
Yeah, so
because that's one you gave 5 stars.
Yeah, so the Battle of Algiers is considered one of the greatest movies of all time. It's a movie I've always meant to watch. Of course, being a movie lover, there's always 7 million movies I have on my list to watch, and I just never got around to watching this. And then, speaking of one battle after another, when there's a scene where Leo DiCaprio's character is watching Battle of Algiers on the TV, and I was like, I really have to watch that movie. And then, like, a year later, I'm like, still like, I'll get round to it. And then I've been getting more politically active lately. I've been doing more stuff with that. So I guess it was the perfect timing, especially now with, the stuff going on in Iran and around the world. So I was just like, you know what? The time is now. So I watched it. It lived up to the hype. Definitely one of the best movies ever. It's an incredible 1966, I believe.
Oh, okay.
It's based on the real life Algerian sort of revolution. So Algeria in North Africa was a colony of France for like over 150 years or something. And the movie takes place in the 1950s and is about like the Algerian people who are like start their resistance movement, and slowly they build up, sort of doing strikes and then doing, bombings and stuff. And then the French army comes in to like crush the rebellion. So it's really nice black and white cinematography. It's shot in this documentary kind of style. So, and it was actually shot in Algiers, like, with the locals and stuff. It looks like they cut in like actual documentary footage. But from what I understand, there's no documentary footage in the movie. It's just the whole movie was planned and shot like a normal movie, but it just looks so authentic and feels so authentic that there were parts where I was like, how did they do that? Like, surely that was actually, they actually captured that on camera during the real revolution. But apparently not.
It's all magic.
Movie. So yeah, incredible movie. Really, well done and really gripping, and just really tense scenes of like, characters like carrying a bomb and like, having to smuggle it through the checkpoint and get past the French soldiers, and then it switches point of view to the French, army, and they're trying to they're like torturing the resistance fighters and trying to get information to find out where the resistance leaders are hiding. And it's
excellent. It's
an incredible movie. I think everyone should definitely check it out.
Well, almost out of time. We got a text message tonight. First one in a while.
Yeah.
Vilma says, "Hi guys, I'm enjoying your segment and the dynamic humor. Great work, great teamwork. Just magic to listen to. Thanks, Vilma. We try our best.
Thanks, Vilma.
Please pump up our egos. Thanks, Vilma.
Flattery will get you everywhere.
That's it. We're almost out of time for tonight. Thank you for listening, everyone. You can check out the Tuesday Review on some of the social media garbage at Tuesday Review AU on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Newsmask, Blue Sky, TikTok, and YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to try and get some more video content out soon.
Yeah, especially now that Alan's got this fancy new camera.
We're also on Letterboxd. I'm Nathan B_90.
I'm channeldrifter.
I'm Elm20.
I'm Callum Tuesday.
And yes, to stay on top of all the socials.
Yeah, where we have an idea for our 300th episode, which is coming up in about a month. Whether that's going to happen or not, we don't know. So if you're listening and you do have an idea of what we should do for episode 300, please DM us or comment below. Or
if you know a Tom Cruise impersonator, please hit us
or
up.
if you are a Tom Cruise, or if you know the real Tom
or
Cruise.
if you are Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise, please come
Tom
on
Cruise
show.
definitely listens to this crap.
We'll love all 5 foot of you.
Well, you know what? Maybe we'll reach out to his agent and be like, "Can you just send us like a little message, a little video message or something? That'd be cool."
Cameo. I don't think Tom Cruise is on Cameo.
All right, we'll catch you next week. Thanks for listening, everyone. Adios, cousins.